And the topic for our next panel is your body from head to toe. Our moderator, Sally Frankel, who some of you may know, she is without a voice. So Sonia Satra has volunteered to step in. And for you, those of you who were here from the beginning, Sonia did our keynote. Sonia is a mind-body coach. She's an author. She's president of the National Speakers Association, and she's ready to go at a minute's notice. So thank you, Sonia, for filling in. She is our moderator for the day, and we're going to do 6 speakers, 15 minutes at a time. So our first speaker is from an organization called Sharp Again, Amybeth Whissel. Sharp Again is a not-for-profit whose mission is to educate the public and medical community about preventing dementia and improving brain health. Amy is a professional health supportive chef, board-certified health coach, and applied functional medicine certified practitioner. As a health coach, she brings a holistic approach to wellness that blends culinary expertise with functional medicine. Before we start, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong place on my notes. I want to introduce the sponsor of this event, Karen Ballou, who is the founder of Immunology. As a master esthetician, Karen is a skin industry veteran. She's a global advocate for skin health. And Karen understands and practices what skilled estheticians have known for years, but what science is now proving. And that is that skin is more than just an aesthetic feature. It's the body's largest organ, deeply connected to overall health, emotional well-being, and even cognitive function. And thank you again, Karen, for being a sponsor of this event.
Thank you, Ann. And to the Renewal. Thank you, Ann, Cheryl, and everyone. First of all, I want to say, I love that intro because a lot of things going on there. But most of all, I only have 3 minutes, right? And so for that reason, maybe less now. Oh, no, 2. Okay, so I always say I can't talk. I have a lot to say. But one thing I wanted to say and share with everyone here, I've met a lot of you who are in the audience. And one thing that's happened over the past year and a half is that I am the first and only partner to Blue Zones. And I don't know how many of you have seen the Blue Zones Netflix documentary. Well, it was amazing meeting Dan Buettner several years ago. And it's all about the 9 principles. There are 5 areas in the world that are Blue Zone regions, one being Costa Rica, Italy, Japan, Greece. What's really important here is that we also have Loma Linda, California. But they're in the 9 principles, and I really want all of you to look those up because they are about living better longer and the health of our body. Immunology means a study of the skin's immunity. So we're really going beyond the area of toxins in our body, but the area of how do we bring health to our body through our skin. And we're all talking about longevity. So Immunology was so honored to be the partner worldwide for the Blue Zones. And I really think that this is an important message for all of us. What we put on our body goes in our body. What we wear also is what we wear goes into our body. So today we have the most important thing for ourselves is to care about self-love, and that is self-love is taking care of ourselves and for longevity. So come by my booth. I would love to share with you more about the Blue Zones, but also about Immunology, and I have a little gift for everyone as well. So come by and please ask me any of the questions that you have on the Blue Zones. It's been an incredible journey getting to know them and to learn more about the Blue Zones in the regions. So thank you.
So happy to be here. We just heard your incredible bio. You're speaking about brain health, and you're a professional health supportive chef, board-certified health coach, and applied functional medicine certified practitioner. Can you please tell us a little more about all of those amazing things? And brain health is so key, and how we can help keep our brains a little brighter.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here with you representing Sharp Again. We are a nonprofit located in Westchester, New York, and we bring to you the message of the importance of prevention. The idea that when people received a dementia diagnosis or had family members with concerns like this, it seemed that there was nothing you could do. If you received a diagnosis like this, they might tell you there's a medication that could slow things down, but you should go home and get your affairs in order. And we bring the message of the power of prevention, and also that today is the day to do something different, that there is no better time than to start now. There are things within our power that we can do in the realms of nutrition, fitness, sleep, and stress. Those are the primary four that we focus on, and we help people optimize those in order to protect their overall cognitive health. There are many things that you can do within the constructs of that. Obviously, the conventional wisdom about nutrition exists for a reason, but in addition to our medical advisory board, which we're very grateful to them for keeping us on the edge, the cutting edge of research, we also feel that the coaching model is especially powerful, because what we're asking to do, people to do, is to make changes that can be incredibly challenging, right? And you know that having accountability, that having someone to help you figure out what your unique and individual goals should be, and then how to take steps to achieve them, and to galvanize those efforts so that you continue to be successful. If you set a goal that you can't achieve, it just pushes you down, it dampens your efforts, and we want to help empower people. And that's really the mission of Sharp Again, to educate, to empower, and to support people to take an active role in their cognitive health. So in addition to these lifestyle factors that we work with people on, we also use our website as an opportunity to put together webinars for these other factors outside of lifestyle that have been pinpointed as things that are additional factors that drive dementia-related illnesses. And so some of these might be viruses that are dormant, whether it's Epstein-Barr, or it could be shingles or chickenpox. Have you had any heavy metal exposure? Do you live in a toxic environment, whether that's chemical toxins or environmental or biological? Are you living in mold? That's a really important thing to know. So that, in addition to other factors such as apnea, also asking people if they have hearing loss, if they have these other factors that might not seem as obvious, glaucoma, these things that are sort of to others on the fringe of your cognitive health. We want to encourage people to take action in these areas, to get testing where necessary, and to think of your brain the way you think of your heart, or the way you think of your reproductive health, to really empower you to take action, and hopefully to have an effect on your cognitive abilities. The message is that dementia is not natural aging, that you have a choice about the quality of your life moving forward, not just the longevity of it.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. I actually just got my own brain scanned because I have some late stage dementia in my family, and I've heard that it really starts with signs that you don't know as early as 40, 50, 60, correct? Sure. So if you can get in on this path right away, you can start making a difference so you don't go down the wrong path, and you can prevent it from ever even happening. So you're a functional medicine health coach. Can you say more about that? What does that mean? How does that differ from perhaps another health coach or even a regular doctor?
So for many of you know functional medicine, but if you don't, essentially I help people to look at all of the factors that make up who they are. So what is your unique history, and what are you bringing to the table? How does your body respond to sugar? What sort of environmental exposures have you had as a child? All of these things that make up the picture of your story are potentially the things that might drive a disease dynamic. And what drives it for you may not be the same thing that drives dementia in my family. For instance, in my family, it absolutely stems from mold. We have early onset in 3 generations. I have a sister who's 51, my mother was 49, my grandmother was 47. We don't have any of the markers for traditional familial early onset Alzheimer's. However, we all have a genetic marker for an inability to get mold out of our bodies. So
Interesting.
that's the driver for our family. But where functional medicine shines is that it looks at you as an individual and takes your story into account. And as a coach, it's my job to help figure out who that person is, who that person in front of me, and what it is they bring to the table, and then helping them unravel it and peel the onion back to get to the root of what their issues might be.
Interesting. And incidentally, about mold, that's a very high percentage of places that have mold, right? I don't know what this is. I remember hearing a statistic, it was like 70% or something off the charts.
So water damaged buildings they're a pretty common thing in this country, and the way that we also build our construction practices actually encourage the growth of mold. And if you have a leak in your home and you don't get to it for 24 hours, within 24 hours, that's when mold will begin growing. So, but mold might not affect you the way it affects me or someone else. So this is just one factor, but it's obviously important to know. And just on that note, many people living with chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia may have underlying environmental issues that they're not aware of, and unfortunately are just told time and time again, it's all in your head.
I know, it's an interesting thing. It's the one part of the body that they don't necessarily look at, right? If you go to a doctor and you have heart disease, they look at your heart, or lung disease, they look at your lungs. But when we have psychological issues, we don't actually always look at the brain. But
There's a pill for that.
Start reframing our thinking about that. So the work you're doing is really incredible. And so, I didn't get my results back yet, so maybe you could give me some tips. What am I going to hear? So what are some Brain 101 tips?
Oh, okay. So obviously we want a Mediterranean, very veg forward type diet, and we want to minimize processed food as much as possible. The lead instructor where I went to school likes to say, you don't have a pantry in your left butt cheek, right? So if I am not taking in those nutrients, and then in addition I'm eating ultra processed food, not only am I not getting the nutrient that I need, but I'm also borrowing nutrient from my body in order to process these foods, because they're mostly unknown to the body, really. So I would say steering clear of ultra-processed food is incredibly important. The amount of sleep that you get, not just the amount of time that you're spending in bed, but how much sleep are you getting? What is the quality of that sleep? Do you have any apnea? That's something that we're finding is a driver for people, because you have instances of apnea during the night, your brain thinks that you are dying, and so it's going to send you some adrenaline or some blood sugar. So the blood sugar is a key piece, and sleep is involved in that. And so sleep, stress, finding something that helps you to de-stress, whether that's meditation or a dance party or whatever it is that works for you.
Exercise.
And then that's the last thing I'll say. Fitness is, if you're looking for a magic bullet, it's not in a bottle, it's in fitness. If you keep moving, that is your best plan in terms of staving off all sorts of disease, right? We need oxygen-rich blood circulating through our bodies, and movement is the key.
Excellent. And you talk about vitamin J.
Yes.
What vitamin J? What does that do for us, and how can that help our brains?
Well, I think that we are inundated with information about how we can do things to help ourselves, almost to the point of fatigue, right? You should do this and you should do that, and should, and the list gets longer and longer. And the component that we feel is missing is vitamin J, which is joy. Are you getting joy from your life, right? Yay!
Yes.
That's worth applauding, absolutely. And so I think, sometimes we're just bogged down with trying to get through the day to day. And so really your brain responds to having that joy in your life, and it's not to be undersold.
That's great. And we have time for about a question. Does anybody have a question out there? Yeah. The question was, are they doing any research out there, and are they holding on to those documents in that research, and how is that playing out?
We're not driving any research ourselves. We follow people like Dale Bredesen, Peter Attia, a couple of other different folks. We try to keep our eyes and ears to the ground to find all of the research. You don't want to necessarily put all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to this. And so we're more tracking how many people we've been able to affect with the message of prevention. But we do have a book coming out that is going to be filled with pragmatic advice and tips about how to take your brain health into your own hands.
Excellent. What's the name of that book, and where can we find it? And we have one more question.
Yes, are there significant biomarkers that would indicate a tendency towards dementia?
Sure. The tests that they have had previously are useful, especially in terms of familial patterns. But there is a test now through Apollo Health, which is the company owned by Dale Bredesen, who wrote The End of Alzheimer's. I believe it's $700. It looks at 3 specific markers of protein to see, and that would tell you 10 years before you start to present symptoms, whether or not there's an Alzheimer's a dementia dynamic underlying and starting to take hold.
Yeah, great. Anybody else? Yeah, sure. So the question is, how would you handle somebody? They're coming to you with an issue, and what would be your process?
So I'll just tell you quickly, Sharp Again has group coaching programs that we use, and we like a smaller model. It usually doesn't have more than 4 to 6 people in it. That includes 2 individual sessions at the beginning and at the end, and then a 4-week course of weekly meetings that includes sleep, stress, fitness, and nutrition. And we find those are great opportunities to partner with people to coach them to provide accountability around meeting those goals. But in terms of how I take on an individual client, I sit down, that's about an hour to an hour and a half of essentially tell me everything there is to know about you. But, was there any potential lead exposure as a child? Did you ever have mono? I like to go through every single piece of it with a timeline, and then also very pointed strategic questions, and then build a map of that person and try to figure out, by moving backwards, as I said, unpeeling the onion, to figure out what it is that might be the unique drivers for that person, especially if it's a multi-symptom issue. And of course, I prefer to partner with that person's physician.
So I know that cognitive decline can be reversed. Is there a time frame on when you can start seeing the reversal begin to happen? I imagine it's a kind of forever process, but
I don't know that I could answer that because it's such an individual type of thing. I would imagine, though, that it's obvious the sooner that you are showing signs, the sooner that you are making interventions, the more likely you would have a chance of seeing reversal. Unfortunately, in my own family, there were efforts made, but my sister was not too far gone in order to be able to have an effect. But Bredesen does have a multifactorial approach. Other doctors also do, but the main message being that you can't try to use one pill because there are so many factors that are pushing creating this dynamic that you have to address as many of them as you possibly can.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you.
Beth, and check out Sharp Again.